Okay, I think we're live. Are we? Welcome everybody to the initial minutes of a live stream, which are always that little awkward me trying to make sure I have everything ready and going. I think I've got my mic in a good spot this time. I'm pretty sure this is how I had it set up last time. Says I've got an excellent connection. Comments are coming in. Hello everybody. Welcome to the live stream of drawing Bustar Terminax, our alien tracker slash sort of alien hunter. I saw a few people talking about how he's not technically an alien hunter because he's not killing the aliens anymore. And I'd have to look at the definition of hunter, but I think there's a chance... that might be right, but I might use the term hunter anyway because hunter just sounds cool. Hey, Dempsey J Illustrations here. Nice. Yes, I am doing a live stream, and as you can see here, I have got the inks done for Bustar Terminax already, and I did these yesterday, and I'll talk about what the inspiration was behind his design just before I get started, because and also in terms of live streaming, the last one I did, for those of you that were there, was a few months ago. Oh my gosh, lots of comments coming in. Hello, everybody. But the last live stream I did was my fur alligator as a kaiju, and I had a lot of fun with that one, but doing the full thing from scratch... Oh my gosh! A donation already. Brother Malachi, thank you very much. Anyway, in terms of the last live stream going like 6.5 hours was just way too much, and so I decided to, with this one, I was going to do the core of the designing of the character ahead of time, and then just do the coloring on the live stream so I can, focus a little bit more on chatting with people while I'm doing the coloring. And now in terms of the things I was taking inspiration from, I'll show you. I made sure to open up... So I'll just show you, I've got the tabs open, and there's also a hint on screen at the moment for what's coming next Friday in terms of videos. But, so the main... Oh my gosh, thank you, Austin Perez. Thank you very much. Oh my gosh, Brother Malachi. Jeez. Oh boy. Wariano. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, everybody. That's very nice of you all. Can you turn on slow... I thought slow mode was on. Oh my gosh, Alan Animations. Is he not human? I am seeing some elf ears. Yes, so he's... I'll talk about the... Oh my gosh, Brother Malachi. That is a huge donation, but also that's a super cool GIF that you sent. I didn't even know people could do that. Okay, wait, sorry, just one sec. Is slow mode on? I thought... Oh, maybe customization, one sec, let's see. Oh, it wasn't on, my bad. I'll set it for 45 seconds. Okay, slow mode is now on. So I think that just means you can't comment. You can only post a comment every 45 seconds, just to slow things down a little bit so that I can stay on that. Thank you to Dempsey J and everyone else who pointed that out. But now I'll get back to our Bustar Terminax inspiration. So one of the main inspirations for him was Lobo from DC Comics. And I admittedly haven't read a ton of stuff with Lobo in it, but I think he's a super cool character. I've seen the old Superman, the episode of the animated Superman series where he shows up, and that was super fun. And I just think he's a bounty hunter, a space bounty hunter kind of character who rides on this sick flying motorcycle. And so as I was thinking of Bustar Terminax, this was really one of the core inspirations that I was thinking of. And you can see that even his eye thing, I kind of have reflected on one of Bustar's eyes here, which I might change the opacity a little bit later on. I guess it's a little bit Drax the Destroyer looking as well. Then another inspiration was I don't have it in reach right now, but I got the art of Darksiders. The art of this, was it the second Darksiders? Anyway, I absolutely love Darksiders art done by Joe Madureira, and probably a bunch of people on that team, but his art was the basis for the style in those games, and I just think it's super cool. And so for the proportions, I was and sort of the style a little bit, I was leaning towards Joe Madureira's designs for Death in Darksiders 2. You can probably see the proportions of the arms and a little bit more angular version of the way I've done the arms in this. I really liked pulling inspiration, and even the fatter legs, kind of in my very old Multiverse Tales style, like from before this channel was a thing. And so then also I was looking at a bunch of different. I'm not going to scroll around too much on this because Cyberpunk 2077 I think has a bunch of not safe for work and definitely not PG kind of designs. But I was definitely looking at and referencing a bunch of different designs from from Cyberpunk 2077 because I just like that grungy, futuristic kind of look. I was going for a little bit of a space pirate kind of vibe, even though Bustar isn't a pirate. I figured he would have that sort of design elements. And then also pulling a little bit of inspiration from the Na'vi. When I was thinking of what kind of alien I wanted Bustar to be, I knew I wanted him to be sort of like, I wanted him to be punkish and cool and tough, but also generally physically attractive by human standards or by humanoid being standards. Like an average person would look at him and think he's a pretty attractive guy. And Alan Animations. Oh, I guess I usually shave just before filming, but I didn't shave today. My facial hair, I've never grown like a full-on beard, but it tends to grow fairly quickly. But yeah, so I was leaning towards a bit of a Na'vi sort of look to him because they're generally pretty attractive looking characters, and I referenced a bunch of different types of aliens and ended up just kind of going with the flow a little bit. Also gave him some scars, and the weapon I drew him with is the Pyrogalv, which I referenced for the first time in the in the Dinosaurs as Aliens episode from, was that 2 days ago? Which I'll have linked in the description if anyone hasn't seen it. I really like that episode. And we're getting a little bit more character development out of Bustar now. And so with all that description out of the way, I am going to actually start coloring Bustar. And the only thing, I actually don't have all of the coloring mapped out for how I want it to go, but I do know I inked this part around his collar in a green color, and the only thing I really have planned is that his jacket will probably be black. Again, I'm leaning very into Cyberpunk 2077 kind of designs, and then this is going to be like a vibrant kind of glowy sort of text, or oh my gosh, Dagon plays and edit. I think Chris totally likes me the most. Well, I won't confirm any favorites, but I'm definitely happy to see you here, and thank you very much for the donation. Let me see. Other comments are coming in. Star Wars Monsters. Hello. He'd fit in with Thundercats. Yeah, I got a bit of a Thundercats look going to him. So you can see this jacket is definitely going to have vibes of Cyberpunk. And I also want his eyes to be this color as well. And I think that's gonna end up looking pretty cool. Maybe I'll end up... I also don't know what color I want his skin to be. Like, I'm thinking an alien sort of color, not something that any human character would traditionally have. But I don't know, I'm gonna start with the jacket a little bit, and because I know what I want to do with that. And then we can see kind of where we flow to from there, because I definitely want the jacket to be just a darker... I always go with very often I'll go with a little bit of a blue tint whenever I'm doing something black. I usually won't go full gray. There's like a little slight amount of blue in there. I might have misspoken there. I'll always have a little bit of blue in when I'm using black. And that, my line work clearly wasn't quite closed somewhere, but I can get rid of that. Yeah, so this is gonna be kind of cool. I'm really liking. Obviously the coloring can make or break a design, but I really liked how the proportions and the inks and everything turned out so far with this. I think it's gonna be really cool. Maybe I want that to stand out a little bit more. Well, let's see. I think I'll have a more desaturated blue for the shoulder pads. Maybe a little bit different. Not quite what I'm after. Not quite my tempo. Okay, we'll go with that for now, but I might change that. This would be easier if I knew what color I wanted to go with for his skin, but with this, I'm going to go with gray. I don't really feel like I need a ramp for that. Guess I really could have thought about this more before going into it, but, obviously I did a bunch of the work ahead of time getting the inks and stuff done. Let's see what the comments are saying. Anything Elden Ring related? I have considered that before. There are some pretty messed up, monstery looking things in there. I've never played Elden Ring, but there are a ton of really cool designs. It's just something that I guess I haven't really taken the time to research what exactly the lore is behind it. And I think it's, from what I understand, it's a game and set of games that have some pretty obscure lore, I guess. I could be wrong about that. Again, I haven't actually played it myself. But I am definitely open to that as a possibility. Oh yeah, I forgot that I had his... Maybe I want... Ooh, that kind of looks cool. I guess that's getting into his skin already. That's giving that a red. Definitely wasn't my intention. Maybe I want to look at that image of the Na'vi again. What do they got going on? They got kind of a stripy sort of look. I don't want it to just explicitly be a Na'vi character, but I do like taking inspiration from them. Let's just test out a bunch of different colors. I don't think I want to go purple, but oh well, so my lines are... Okay, that's better. Don't think I'm going to go purple, but let's explore a little bit. No, I'm not liking that, not feeling that. Maybe I want to go with something a little bit duller, like a very faded green. That's probably going to look a little bit too Drax the Destroyer-like, seeing that, especially with the little bit of red in there. Let's try some blue, a bit more saturated blue. Oh, well, that would just make him very clearly a Na'vi kind of character, and I don't know if I want to go with that. Said I wasn't going to go human, but what if I go with instead of a white, peachy kind of skin, what if I go with a more vibrant... Alright, I'm going to color more of his suit before I decide on his skin color. That will help me decide what is a good contrasting sort of color to go along with the coloring of his suit. Are we going to go blue? I was thinking maybe we have the jacket feel like a separate entity from the rest of his more skin-tight attire, but maybe it being unified could be kind of cool looking. Oh my gosh, Link Mario! Out of all your characters, I find Bustar the most relatable since I also love xenomorphs and other aliens that can brutally maim me. Well, I'm glad. I'm really liking writing Bustar, and it's fun how I feel like I'm giving him a bit of an arc through the course of all his episodes, which in a YouTubing sort of planning content scheme isn't necessarily as good, because that might make it harder for new people to jump onto his story later on. But I feel like I've got a pretty good balance right now of someone could jump into the Dinosaurs as Aliens episode not knowing anything about Bustar and still have a good time and not really be confused. But thank you. I really like Bustar so far. Super fun character. Oh, what if we have some pops of yellow in here? That's too flashy for him, I think. Even a dull bronze almost. That just looks brown. What if we just go with more gray? Golden colored skin. Yeah, maybe. That will probably look nice with the blue heavy suit. Oh, then again, you know what? If I'm making his suit too blue, that's already taken him a little bit too close to Heath and Sterling's attire. Maybe I want to go pretty just desaturated. Or maybe even he can have kind of a clashing suit. Like his jacket is blue, but then he's got a bit of a red sort of thing going on. Okay. Yeah, I think I might actually lean more towards that. I've got enough characters with blue is... I would say purple is probably my favorite color. I usually like color combinations more than just one specific color, but blue is definitely just mentally a color that I go to a lot for superhero kinds of characters and stuff like that. Like, I don't know why, I'm just very inherently drawn to blue color schemes. Oh my gosh, Smash Ultra. Can you draw Powerpuff Girls as Dragon Ball Z characters? Oh, that would be really good. I do like that idea. Let me think about that. It's definitely possible. For some reason, Dragon Ball Z, anytime I've put that on a thumbnail, the video almost never does well. But I do love drawing Super Saiyan kinds of characters, and that is a really good combination idea. I'm going to keep that in mind. Powerpuff Girls Super Saiyans. That could be very fun. I do like that concept a lot. Okay, I'm thinking, yeah, this might work, having his, bright pop of color on his collar and his eyes, and then underneath we've got a bit more of a desaturated sort of color scheme going on his skin tight sort of elements. That could be kind of cool. I'm also going to add a bit of grunge to his suit once I've got more of the flat colors kind of laid out. But this does feel like it's working for me. Okay. It is weird. I think I usually go for coloring the face first, or flatting the face first, I guess. So it feels strange not doing that, but again, I'm hoping doing all this other stuff will help me kind of figure out what exactly I want to do. That might work. This is a weird color combination, but him having kind of... I don't picture him being a super fashion-focused kind of character. Like, I think of him more as someone who... Like, he cares about looking cool, but he'll kind of just throw his outfit together sort of thing. We need a xenomorph for alligator. Oh, that would be a super cool design. I do have Pokemon. Two ideas that have been suggested a bunch for xenomorphs are Pokemon and Monster Hunter, and both of those I think could be really cool. Monster Hunter would likely be a more time-consuming one. That would very likely be a 3... Oh, no, I don't know what I'm doing with his arm yet. Would very likely be a 3 drawing episode, because Monster Hunter characters obviously have a lot more detail than Pokemon. But a for alligator could be super fun too. Okay, this is... do I want that to be... This arm thing I was thinking is like Predator tech that he took. I was referencing Predator designs for it. Yeah, that kind of works. But yeah, I don't want him to look too clean. I want him to be a bit scrappy and... Yeah, this is working well enough for me. Let's see, pants that I'm just gonna go with pretty similar to what we got going on up here. Whoops, what happened there? Yeah, he's gonna have dark... What is happening? Am I pressing the wrong button? The heck? Why did that? Something weird's going on. Okay. Yep. I'm gonna like that. That's gonna work out for me. My Cintiq has been... Something's been getting a little bit glitchy on me in the last little while, and I haven't totally figured out what's going on, but if we have a few little technical errors, it wouldn't be anything big enough to like have to stop the stream, but I might end up having to close Sketchbook and reopen it or something. Oh, I don't know if I want to give him black hair. His hair will have to be decided once we've got the skin color down as well. But what do we want? Are his pants going to lean into the blue? Yeah, I think his pants will lean into the blue as well. They look like they'd probably be matching with the jacket. Ooh, then maybe I'll just go even. Yeah, that's going to work for me, I think. It's coming together in a cool way. Running out of space on the Mac. No, I made sure to clear everything. It's got like half the hard drive is, I did think that is a good idea. That has messed things up for me before, but I made sure to check, and it's only, my hard drive's only half full, and I cleared out the trash and everything. Let's see, what do I want to go with this? Maybe a bit of a brown leathery. Is that going to make it look a little bit too fantasy-like? Maybe I should stick with like just a darker red. Okay, something is going on. I'm just going to quickly close Sketchbook and open it again. I think something's up. Or maybe it's just the fact that I'm live. Oh, look at this! Have you seen Slug Terra? Love the designs, by the way. Thank you, Greg Gornjack. Hope I said that right. But thank you very much. But yes, I've had a few people suggest Slug Terra to me. It wasn't something that I was ever aware of. My guess is either Canada didn't get it or it was just on TV a little bit after my time as a kid. But there are some. Oh no, I saved that. There are some pretty cool designs in that, and it's something that if I knew more of my audience was interested in it, I probably would have done it by now. It's something like Bakugan, where I've considered putting it up for a poll a few times, and who knows, maybe it would be like Ninjago, where it's something that I didn't really know a ton about, but then I work with it and it does super well. The Ninjago, the first Ninjago video from last year is one of my most popular videos of the last year. So I definitely acknowledge that there are topics that I don't necessarily know a ton about or didn't watch when I was a kid that could be really fun to work with and lots of people would like. So I am Slug Terra is one that will likely get put in a poll at some point. I'm not sure when exactly, but yeah. Is this? I want to go with a duller sort of color. Maybe. That might work. I might even, like I said, I wasn't going to go with a very human color scheme for him, but I'm thinking maybe even like pretty black looking skin could work. Or maybe just like more vibrant orangey sort of skin. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe I'll look at some, I was also referencing some Mass Effect characters, and I just realized my camera's a little bit off. But I was referencing some Mass Effect characters as I was designing this guy as well. That's not a game series that I've played either, but there are some really cool designs in it. No, wait, maybe I'm going to go with a desaturated blue for this part because I want that to be pretty black. Maybe this. I don't know if I want that to match his color scheme. I don't think he would be color coordinating his weapons. I think he'd just kind of throw stuff together. That's gonna be, these are, for some reason I'm going with red, faded kind of red for these bandages. Bandages, kind of just like nonsense details that I add to stuff. Cybertronian Xenomorph. I have seen a few people suggest that. It's definitely an interesting concept because Xenomorphs already have a bit of a mechanical inspiration to their designs. Like, even though biomech is obviously a term I've kind of co-opted for other things, Xenomorphs would kind of be described as having a biomechanical visual inspiration to them. So a Transformer Xenomorph could be particularly interesting if it's a little bit like Transformers-y but with a bit more of a flesh to it, like a shiny flesh, and less so like just a robot. Or I could lean more into the robot elements. I don't know. It would definitely be an interesting experiment. Transformers is another topic that for some reason, like, it used to be really popular, but the last few times I've tried using it, it just like really didn't. I don't know if it was the algorithm dropping it or if it was just a lot of people weren't really interested in it anymore. But I mean, I still love working with Transformers. Admittedly, when I saw Rise of the Beasts, I wasn't really inspired by it to make anything Transformers related. Yeah, no, I don't think I want to go. Let's go with his gloves. For some reason are going to match the color scheme of his jacket. I love fingerless gloves and designs. just think they look very cool. Everybody's wearing fingerless gloves. What is that? That's a Lonely Island song. There's a part of that song where someone drops a chicken on the ground or something. I don't remember what it was. Someone in the comments will probably say it and they'll probably miss it, but... Oh, this was one of those times I didn't actually check and see what the delay is between what you guys are all hearing and what I'm saying. But this is generally, my internet where I'm living right now is fantastic, so it's probably not a massive delay. What does Bustar's weapon do? The Pyro Galv is, he has a bunch of different weapons. That's just the one I drew him holding because it's what he had in the last video from Friday, I keep forgetting it, Dinosaurs as Aliens, where it was, on one end, it's like a taser stun stick, and I'm thinking can also probably shoot electricity a bit of a distance, and the other end, it's a flamethrower. So it's really good for xenomorphs specifically, because fire is apparently a weakness of a lot of xenomorphs, and so he used it against the Spinosaurus xenomorph in the latest episode. Oh, look at that. I got a donation from Satan. Thanks, Satan. Who is your favorite member of the Sharp Gang? Mine is Benny or Kayla. I think I might have to go with Kate. She's my favorite character. It's definitely a tough call. Benny is for sure up there. Kayla's a classic. But Kate, I just really like how her arc has been slowly progressing and what I have planned for it in the future. It's been really fun to write her ever since I introduced her into the mix. Crimson, I'm sorry, Crim50NR8ER, Crimson Raider? Sorry, thank you very much for the donation. I'm rather new to your stream, so if you don't mind me asking, what art program do you use for your videos? I use Autodesk Sketchbook, which Sketchbook is no longer owned by Autodesk. It's, I don't know what company owns it. I think it just goes by Sketchbook now. It was free at a time. It had a subscription service for a time, but now I think it's $20 American. I actually checked it the other day because I was having a few little errors, a few little glitches with this, and this is the old version. And I considered upgrading, but I saw some bad reviews for the new version that it's maybe a little bit glitchy, but I generally love Autodesk Sketchbook. You can probably find an old version of it from when it was free to download somewhere on the internet. But obviously there's not going to be anyone to kind of troubleshoot it for you because it's no longer owned by Autodesk. Which the issue that I'm kind of having now is I can't really talk to anyone about, hey, how do I fix this? Except, I don't know, maybe like forums on Reddit or someone has had a similar issue. But it also hasn't been a pressing enough issue that I've felt the need to really sit down and try and figure it out. But yeah, Autodesk Sketchbook I really love. It's got a very simple layout. It's very clean. It's got a few little things missing that I would like if they added, but it's I really love it as a software. Okay. Went to the comments a bunch, but let's think about this. What are we getting into next? Is that gonna work? Yeah, I think we've got a lot of color variety in there already, so I'm pretty okay with... What do I want to do for his skin color? No, that's... Also, his tail that he's got here is not an opposable tail, so it's not like he can't grab stuff with it. It's, mostly for aesthetic purposes. I mean, he's a strong character, but not like super powered strong. Oh, look at this. Afraid Alan, thank you very much. I probably sound dense for asking, but for the redraw, are our aliens supposed to be existing aliens or our own idea aliens? Your own original, come up with any kind of cool alien concept design that you want. They can take inspiration from some existing things if you want, but yeah, it's your own original creations and aliens. I'm very excited to see what people submit and how I can xenomorph them and make them creepier and more monstery looking. Or maybe even somehow less monstery looking. If someone submits something super monstrous, then maybe it becoming a xenomorph would somehow make it less monstery looking. Can't necessarily picture an alien where that would be the case, but it's definitely possible. I guess that can be like this. I am liking this vibe so far. It is feeling a little bit busy, but is Bustar part of a species or hybrid or something else? I'm thinking he's going to be a hybrid of a couple different species. Like his original parents are from 2 different species, but he also didn't spend a ton of time with them because he was then taken by the warlord character that I mentioned in the most recent episode, which a lot of people have caught the little hint of his connection to another Multiverse Tales character in that. But yeah, I'm thinking he's a blend of a couple different species. Okay, we're getting down to the point where I have to actually make decisions about his skin color. Is this gonna have red on it? Maybe not. I'm gonna keep this pretty gray. Jeez, I've spent a long time on the flatting. But that's okay. What's this? Maybe this is just gonna be like even just a weird off color. Because I'm okay with his design being a bit of a hodgepodge of colors, like I said. It doesn't have to be completely unified because he's a pretty scrappy kind of guy. Make him yellow. Yellow might work. Maybe like a faded yellow. I guess I am on to his skin color now. I kind of have to actually make these decisions. So let's try this again. Let's see what else is gonna work for me. Why is his nose getting flatted? There we go. Okay, yellow. Let's see how yellow looks with a bit of an orange. It's a bit too vibrant for him, I think. Well, let's see. Okay, if I put that on the head, and we also put it on the neck. Not quite feeling it. But let's see how it looks if I put it on all his skin. Maybe I can add some tiger-like stripes, a little bit like the Na'vi have. Oh, the one kid Yoda had the balloon on the thing you sent is covering part of it, but I think it's the one kid Yoda hat? Oh, hated. My bad. Thank you very much for the donation. I have the chat going in 2 different spots, and on the other one, the name wasn't covered at all. Have I seen Sweet Tooth on Netflix? No, I haven't. I've heard of that, and I've heard good things about it, but I haven't seen it. This color. What do I... Alright, I'm gonna not go with color ramps for now, just so I can go through this a little bit quicker. Let's try purple again. Right, that's why that's a bad idea. What the heck? Oh, look at this. Hey PopCross, me and my friend Sal are major fans. Great to see Bustar finally being drawn. He's Sal's favorite. My favorite is probably Kate. Oh cool, thank you very much. Wait, did I read your name out? Let me scroll. What's happening? What the heck's going on? Come on, let me scroll back up. Mo, thank you very much, Mo. And Dempsey J Illustrations, thank you. Leave his skin white and color the mohawk. That might not be bad. Like not like a human white, but like a just flat grayish kind of coloring. That's not a bad idea. Let's try that out. I hadn't considered that. I'm just gonna do all of that at once. Let's see. not bad. I kind of like that. Gives him a even more of a death sort of vibe. Yeah, good idea, Dempsey. Okay, let me do it properly now, though. Get rid of all this. Okay. Yeah, I can have the slightest tint of... maybe even... no, I'm going to go with classic. A little bit of... actually, I guess with the lighting that's around him from his collar thing, he'd probably have a little bit of a greeny, bluey kind of glow under there, which I'll add some rim lighting to emphasize it further. But I'm liking this. I'm going to add more of a gradient, though. Also, you can see I gave him a bunch of scars, but I gave him one specifically right on his neck, like someone slit his throat at some point. And I haven't actually decided what the story is behind that, but I think that's going to be a interesting, maybe sad, or who knows, maybe I'll end up making it into a goofy sort of thing that happened to him. Oh, but if I'm going with this gray, I also might need to go with a bit of a gold color on his suit to differentiate. Yeah, I'm gonna have to, it'll be like a dull gold kind of color, but I think I gotta add that in just to separate his skin a little bit. Right. Okay, I think I'll put a little bit of a hint of yellow in his skin instead of a hint of blue like I would normally do to help, and then I'll emphasize the blue tint of the metallic parts of his suit to make sure that his skin and the metal of his suit are a bit more separated out and stand out from each other. Yeah, so let's see. I'm gonna select all of these parts and just wash them with a bit of blue. Just to... where's my airbrush? Is this it? I reset some things in Sketchbook the other day, so I'm a little bit thrown off by some of the... alright, a little bit more blue to that. That is definitely working to separate his skin. And then his nose will have a little bit of a red-ish sort of vibe, because it's got that sort of cat-like feature to it. But yeah, good call, Dempsey. I like the gray. I think more color was going to be too much. Plus, I'm going to add a little bit of a color variation to his scars and stuff, which is going to be even more of a differentiation. Why is it? Okay. Pokemon as Transformers. That was the Transformers episode that I was sure was going to do really well, and it did not well at all. Even it was one that I thought, okay, it didn't do well off the bat, but maybe long term it'll do better, and it never really picked up at all. I was surprised that it didn't really go anywhere. Oh no, we can't have him have Kate's hair color. But is this too... going with a space punk kind of look? Purple to blue is kind of cool. Maybe even saturated even more. But again, that might be a little bit much. Might be too much. Maybe I'm even just going to go with black, because he's got so much color on him already. Yeah, I'm leaning towards just going with black hair. Oh, look at this. Hey, PopCross, you should do Ben 10 aliens fused with Marvel heroes. I am definitely open to that. I have actually been thinking of going back and doing a distant sequel to my Ben 10 aliens if they were on famous superhero teams episode. So doing it like my old Ninjago episode, or my recent Ninjago episodes, where I put Ninjago characters and rewrote them and redesigned them into other superhero worlds. Oh my gosh, Dillo Raptor Gaming. Hey, that was your You got... Wait, I'll read your comment, because I think yours was Darwin for our new team. Hey, Popcross, when do you think you'll release the next Trismegistus Academy episode? I can't wait to see what you do with the redraw characters. Unless I have this wrong, everyone, Dillo Raptor is, I believe, the person who submitted Fossilmancer. I guess I didn't refer to him as Fossilmancer in the episode yet, but the guy with the whole bunch of dinosaurs behind him, who I drew with the Pachycephalosaurus dinosaur. Super cool character and power set. And I've started mapping out the next story. It's not going to be a community redraw for that one. It's going to be me drawing 4 of the teachers that are at the Trismegistus Academy. And I have the basic story arc mapped out for it. It's going to revolve around Anna and her... I don't want to get into spoiler territory yet, but I don't know when I'm going to put it out yet. It won't be... It's one of those episodes where it's a Multiverse Tales episode that isn't a community redraw, which are a little bit more on the rare side. And admittedly, July and August views tend to dip a significant amount, and views have seemed like they've dipped a bit since I went on vacation. Like, a lot less people are getting notified as a video is being released. Which, by the way, presumably a bunch of people here already have this, but if you want to ring the bell, YouTube has been not sending out as many notifications lately for my videos. Yeah, so not sure on the release date yet, but it is coming, and I have started not writing the dialogue or the actual story, but I have written a layout for how that story is going to go. Okay, and then Akabrad, thank you as well. First of all, I love your art. Thank you or your work. Thank you very much. What would you think about a game set in Dimension T905? I might or might not be working on something like that. That's super cool. I'd be super excited to see whatever you're doing with that. I've always loved the idea of a Multiverse Tales fighting game, but any kind of game, especially in T905 with so many dragons and monsters, and for anyone that doesn't know, that's Tehran's universe. But yeah, that's super cool. Was there another? Yes, there. The kid the one kid Yoda hated sent another. Thank you very much. Can you do How to Train Your Dragons as mechs? That could be interesting, though I have done the 2 most popular ones already, though I could kind of reboot not reboot, but do an updated Toothless, because that was the very first mech armor, and I majorly rushed that design, although it did turn out kind of cool looking. So I'll definitely consider that. Yo, Christian, love your work. This is Crimson Nova. Thank you very much. Have a possible idea category for you. Tarkatanized. Tarkatans. Okay, Tarkatans from Mortal Kombat. Tarkatanized characters since the new Mortal Kombat Tarkat virus was introduced. I'm definitely open to that. Monday's episode coming out is a Mortal Kombat video, and it seems like Mortal Kombat is a topic that's still kicking on PopCross Studios. The Disney Mortal Kombat episode admittedly did really terrible on its first day, but it's really tracked along and has kept doing fairly well, and I'm super excited for tomorrow's episode. The art is a significant upgrade, I would say, from the Disney villain Mortal Kombat episode, and I'm definitely open to it. I'd be more open to that if it does turn out that the Tarkat disease ends up being a big element from the new game, so that becomes more of a buzz term, and lots of people are talking about it, and so we'll see. I'm definitely open to that. We'll see how what all is released when we're closer to, or when the actual game is released. But yeah, that is a cool idea. Tarkatans have a pretty cool, menacing, somewhat Venom-ish sort of vibe to them. Is this breaking again? What is happening? Me? Oh my. Oh, did I... Hot potato, what is happening? Why, am I gonna have to close this again? It might be because I'm streaming, maybe, I don't know. I didn't have these errors last time I was streaming, I don't think. But, wait, was that another... No? Was it? Oh, yes, wow, Kagomi Woods, thank you very much. Would you ever do a collab with newer authors? I don't currently have any plans to do collaborations, the main thing for me is I work on a very fast, very tight deadline. So like when I start a video, I have it done like 2.5 days later. So collabs are always a little bit awkward to try and organize timing for them, because I don't want to put someone else on that kind of time frame where it's like, hey, you got to have this done in 2.5 days. So currently I'd say no, but it's something I might be open to in the future. And then Dragon Viper Exo, thank you very much. Hey, I love your work, especially Bustar Terminax. That's awesome, thanks. He's closely becoming my favorite of all your narrators. Oh, thank you. I really like Bustar. He's coming along very nicely. Question, do you have any boundaries or anything like that with fan art of your characters? Not really. I mean, if someone drew like one of my very positive characters like drowning a puppy or something, I wouldn't be happy about that, but like whatever people are inspired to do with my characters, drawing my characters, I'm pretty open to. The idea that people want to draw my characters is still super cool to me. So, no, I'm pretty like, go nuts. You know, I'd rather not see like Benny Sharp with like a Nazi flag or something. Like I just off the top of my head, there are obviously some things that I'm like, oh, I really wouldn't want to see someone drawing that. But for the most part, I'm like, do whatever you want. If someone wants to draw one of my characters as a furry, like it's fine with me. Whatever someone's inspired to do with my characters. I'm not necessarily gonna make it canonical, but like yeah, I'm pretty happy for people to go nuts and do whatever. I guess I'll make his tail similar color to his hair. Oh, did I make his back of his hair purplish? Oh no, it's just a very bordering on purplish blue. Okay, look at that. Good idea, Dempsey J, on making him have like a gray-white sort of skin. I think that definitely works. Makes the rest of his costume stand out nicely. And now I'm gonna go in and add some details like his scars. Oh, I think I'm gonna up the saturation on his eye patch. Well, not eye patch, but thingamathing. Let's see what comments we got. I can't believe I'm still flatting. Wow, this might be one of those times where this stream goes a lot longer than I was thinking it was gonna go. I guess that's kind of just the nature of live streaming. I also don't necessarily have to finish this, but then again, that's exactly what I said with the fur alligator, and then I ended up going super long on that one. What do I want in the background color to be? I'm just gonna go with generic blue for now. I can always change it easily if I need to later. Why is my brush so sharp? That's weird. Alright. Is something up with this? What's going on? Size, opacity, advanced, light pressure, blah, blah, blah. Alright, sure, whatever. Again, I reset some things in Autodesk Sketchbook, so it's possible there's some weird little hiccups that I'm having. Oh, it's so blotchy. That is odd. I'm gonna make the rim light color of his techno thingy. Okay. I guess I can zoom in and out more often. When I'm doing my videos, I try to not zoom in and out too much because I find it's very jarring once the footage is sped up to try and watch the video. But when I'm live streaming, I'm not intending to take this and then turn it into a video, so I'm fine with, like, this footage isn't going to get sped up at some point, I don't think. I guess I could even make his eyes a different color. Or, nah, I'll leave it as is. I don't want to make him too... I don't want to over-design him too much. Oh, right, I kept this red. Does that work for me? Doesn't really make sense, but it's also kind of cool looking, so maybe I'll stick with it for now. Maybe it gets changed later. Let's give his scars a little bit of a red tint to them. Put this on a new layer so that I can change it around easily if I need to. I guess I was thinking about giving him a scarred pupil as well, but I guess this thing that scratched him just missed the surface of his eyeball. Or maybe he has pretty tough eyelids, so that protected him. Yeah, I'm thinking that's going to be a decent color. Almost looks a little bit like lipstick, but oh well. New to the channel, I love your content. Only complaint is how all the lore is everywhere, and I don't know where to truly begin. I will continue searching though. So I have an episode called Multiverse Tales Explained, which is, I made it 2 or 3 months ago. So that is like the best condensed explanation for all the most important stuff that's happened in Multiverse Tales. Breaks down all the different characters and narrators. It's time coded so you can jump to different people. Multiverse Tales Explained episode is definitely where you want to go if you want to learn all the most important lore in about a 40-minute time span, which is still a long-ish time, but it's a lot faster than trying to watch through everything, because the Multiverse Tales playlist itself, which is just the original stories, it's probably like, I don't know, it would probably be approaching like a day's worth of content at this point. So yes, the Multiverse Tales Explained is the best condensed way to learn the most important stuff about the characters and lore. But that is definitely something that could become more of a problem in the future. I might have to do another one eventually as well. Might have to turn on my air conditioning. It's getting very hot in here. The air conditioning is, it's not it's not loud enough that I notice it when I'm not filming a video or something, but I always turn it off before filming because it just adds that little bit of extra room noise that I don't want. But I mean, there's also a live stream and it's allowed to be a little bit on the jankier side. Does he have any more scars? I'm not seeing any more, so I think we can actually get into the coloring and flatting now. Hey PopCross, have you ever considered making a gaming channel? Not really. I think it would be fun to, play a video game and have people just kind of watch along, but I'm not nearly good enough at video games that I think anyone would have a particularly fun time watching that. And I don't think I would want to take the time to go through the whole process of constructing another channel. The only time I've thought about doing that really is for the motivational quotes that I use at the ends of my videos, doing a separate channel specifically for motivation, but then I just ended up deciding to work it into the ends of my videos, and I think that kind of scratched the itch for me of giving people some positive and inspiring and uplifting messages without having to go through the process of making a whole separate channel, because that itself is pretty time consuming, and then building another channel, even if I have one channel that's successful, like you've probably seen a bunch of channels before that they make a second channel and maybe assume that it's just going to do super well because they have one channel that's working for them, but that's often not the case. There are like some of the big channels that can pay people to curate the content on their second channels can do super well with that, like someone as big as like Mr. Beast or ZHC or someone like that. But for someone like me that does all the work on my videos myself, doing a second channel would be a lot of extra work that I would have to be super passionate about the topic to do that. And with video games, I do really like video games, but like play video games once or twice a week. It's not like as big of a passion for me. And if anyone's wondering, the game I've been playing most when I do play video games currently is Rogue, what's it called? Rogue something. It's a bit like an Overwatch kind of game where it's like a hero shooter, but the heroes are not as wild and out there as Overwatch. They're a little bit more reserved in terms of their different abilities. But Rogue Squadron? No, I think that's a Star Wars game. I don't know. Rogue something. Someone will probably call Rogue Company. Yes, thank you, Super Goat. That's Rogue Company, I think. Sounds right anyway. I don't want to give him, like, lipstick, but I think his lips should be a slightly different hue. I mean, they'll have shadows on them, so that might be enough. Yeah, this might be a bit too much. I also gave him pretty big lips. Nope, yeah, that's not working for me. I'm just going to add shading on them. But first we're going to start with the eyes. I almost always start by shading the eyes on a character. Not 100% of the time, but usually, because the eyes I also do a little bit different. I mean, nowadays I've started doing a bit more of blurring my line work on some characters' skin to make their skin feel a little bit less textured and softer, especially if it's a cute kind of character. So it's something I'll do more often with female characters. Where is my... Gah, is this? Oh. Why do things look different? What is happening? That's my blending brush? I completely lost my train of thought, though. But, oh, Team Tamika. Oh, man, it has been... oh, throat scar. Someone commented the throat scar. Thank you. Yes, I did forget about that. But yes, oh, man, Tamika. Haven't had her in an episode in a while. I don't even currently have the time planned when she comes back next, but I am glad that she ended up in a proper Multiverse Tales episode. That was a very fun little addition, even if she wasn't like the main character. And actually, funny enough, that's probably the capacity to which Bustar Terminax will be the main character in his episode. What's happening? Bustar Terminax isn't going to be the main character in his episode. He's going to be kind of like Tamika in that episode, in the sense of how much of a role she played in her episode with Kate and Mara. Flow, let's go flow around 5%. Oh, maybe that's not enough. Wait. This brush is being weird. Resetting everything messed things up more than I thought. I'll have to fix that tomorrow. Not going to go through the time to fix it all now. Also, things are all in different places. I don't use this pencil. Why do I have it here? I also never use this anymore. I don't even know what this is. Do I own any pets? I don't. And I've never really had many. We had fish briefly when I was a kid, but my family's always done a lot of traveling, so having pets would have made it difficult to we would have had to always find people to take care of them while we were going on trips. So having pets was never a big option for our family as a kid. But I'm probably more of a dog person than a cat person, but I love both cats and dogs. And if I got a pet, it would probably be a dog, though I would be more likely to do that if I had more space, I think. You can have a dog in apartments, and I have a fair-sized apartment, but... Oh, look at that! I don't even know what money type this is. RON. That's fun. Big Bad Baseball Bat. Hey, I remember that one demon episode takes place in Transylvania, so I gotta ask, is Mara Romanian? I also thought about this because of her full name. Yes, so Koshmara is Romanian and Japanese. Admittedly, I haven't really planned out that much stuff for her parents, but I always visualized it as her dad's Japanese and her mom's Romanian. And so Koshmara's name... Oh, I'm blanking on it. It means... So her Koshmara is Romanian, and Noroi I took from the Japanese word for... What was it? I think it was nightmare and curse. I have it written down somewhere, but it's been a while. Was it nightmare curse or nightmare hunter? I forget which it was, but it was one combination of that. But yes, so Mara, Romanian and Japanese. Oh, what's this? Oh, Mo's back. Thank you. Oh, and thank you very much, Big Bad Baseball Bat, and thank you, Mo. Hey, Pop, last thing, lol. Is there plans to introduce Bustar as a recurring part of the gang. It'd be awesome having another non-human on the team. So not... what do I want to reveal? Bustar is going to be a recurring character in the... So he'll have his episode coming up soon where he'll meet some Multiverse Tales characters. Definitely, I haven't seen anyone comment the characters that he's going to meet up with, because it's definitely not someone people would expect. And it's not even the character I hinted that he has a connection to already. But basically he's going... I don't currently have intentions to have him join the Sharp Gang, but there is a storyline mapped out with him and a Sharp Gang member once we get into the next arc of Multiverse Tales stories, which we've been building up to basically for a year now, which I had been referring to as the Multiversal War, but that name is changing, and I can't actually reveal what the name is because it wouldn't actually make sense to people yet, and it would be a spoiler. But also, I'm looking as if the mic is my camera, and that's inaccurate. But yeah, so that's all I'll say about it for now. Bustar is going to become a more recurring character in the story, but also for now, I'm going to focus a little bit more on his own separate narrative. So almost like he's a character that newer followers of the channel can get into a little bit more easily because he's not as tied in with the progressing narrative yet, even though he is going to have his little connection with other characters in the near future. But yeah, I think I was subtle enough to not reveal any spoilers. That's something that I struggle with the Design Notes podcast on the PopCross Studios Patreon, is not revealing anything while I'm talking about storylines that I cut from Multiverse Tales episodes, and because often if I've cut something, there's a decent chance I'm gonna come back to it or do a different version of it. But I am also roasting at the moment. I'm gonna turn on my air conditioning. Apologies if it gets a little bit more room tone soundy in here, but I am very toasty at the moment, and this is also going a lot slower than I anticipated, but that's okay. I'm enjoying myself. That will get faded out a little bit. This part of his nose is also mostly turned down, but I don't want it all to get blotted out. I had originally thought about making him look a little bit more sad, almost. But that's just kind of where he is in his current arc. Like, he's still kind of struggling with the predators disrespecting him and feeling like other people aren't cool with him, even though he has the respect of the Ishkonians. Jeez, I have so much lore that I often have to reference back to my own Ishkonians. I often have to reference back to like documents I have with all my lore to make sure I'm getting names right and stuff like that. And now on top of that, I'm writing In Another Multiverse, the stories for In Another Multiverse, which is a side project that I've got in the works. I guess I haven't fully elaborated on this on PopCross Studios. There's going to be a second episode of the In Another Multiverse production journal coming out on the PopCross Studios Patreon on Wednesday. But basically, I'm writing a set of 3 new audiobooks that will be like longer than your average Multiverse Tales episode, but also shorter than a regular audiobook. Like, I'm leaning towards an hour and a half runtime for each of them. The reason it's called In Another Multiverse is because they're not set in the same multiverse as Multiverse Tales. So they're not directly connected. There might be some little nods, but they're not going to be stories that, like, you're missing something from Multiverse Tales if you don't get them, because they're not going to be released on PopCross Studios. I'm going to release them as like a set of audiobooks that people can buy. And I'm very excited to, and they're also not going to have, I'm not necessarily going to do visual development for them, like they're going to be purely audiobook format, and I'm excited to be working on a set of stories that I can take a little bit more time with, and yeah, I'm really liking how they're progressing so far, even though I'm still in the very early stages. If you decide to do collabs, dibs, yeah, I'll keep that in mind, MCJ. But yeah, the In Another Multiverse stories that I have planned right now are, some of them are actually stories that, one of them is a story that I wrote as a short film back in high school, and then in film school I rewrote it as a short film again with different main characters, and it's like a very superhero fighting tournament kind of focused thing that I bit off way more than I could chew in high school trying to, thinking I could film it. Like, I did lots of special effects stuff in high school, but I was not able to, I cast way too many people, and wrangling everyone's schedules was a mess, and I needed to get it done in time for a film festival that I was entering, and I ended up scrapping it and making How to Make a Movie by Yourself, which you can actually still find on this channel, and it's got like over 100,000 views, even though I released it a million years ago, and it's unlisted now, because it's got like a bunch of copywritten music in it and stuff. That was way back in the day before I knew that being a YouTuber was a career path. It was just like, I've got some, I don't remember what the playlist is called, but I've got a playlist that's like all my old special effects videos and me just playing around with stuff in high school that you can go back if you want to see really young PopCross. I mean, really young. Those, I might be older than a bunch of you in those videos at the time even, but yeah, there's some fun stuff back there, some cool special effects fight scenes I made. I am moving super slow on this drawing. That's okay. It's it's not really a big deal. The most important thing really is his face. I'm not gonna go over the top with this live stream because obviously I'm working tomorrow. I work, even though I'm self-employed, I work a pretty regular schedule, and most of my family and a bunch of my friends work like not quite 9 to 5, but in that sort of ballpark, so I tend to keep similar hours to that, although a bit longer. I tend to work 6 to 5 with eating a meal mixed in, and usually either going for a walk or going for a workout. But 6 to 5, except Mondays and Fridays when I have videos going out, because then I work an extra hour replying to comments and stuff. But also keep in mind that I really love my job, so it's very different. Like, I would get burnt out faster when I had a job that I didn't really care that much about, working 40 hours a week, than I do now working like 50, 60 hours a week on something that I really love. Plus, I took my vacation time recently, which was very relaxing and rejuvenating, even if it did mean the YouTube algorithm knocked me down a couple pegs, it seems like. But that maybe I'm just being paranoid, and maybe it is just that it's summer, and July and August are months where I tend to get a lot less views anyway. Usually, the big months are usually late September through December. The ad rates go way up, views tend to go way up, and those are usually the big income months and big views months, which, as someone who likes getting stuff done early, I would much prefer if like January, February, March were the really good months, and then I could be like, okay, I've made a bunch for the year. If the rest of the year slips a little bit, not gonna feel too bad about that. But that's not how it works, because lots of people want to advertise around Christmas, and that's why ad rates spike up so much in around getting into October, but mostly into November, December. I've mentioned this, I think, a couple times in recent videos, But oh, look at this, Paul Apollo. That's a cool name. Curious question because I got here. Was Bustar the narrator of the video game Mandalorian episode? The narrator did mention he got a burn scar from Mando Mario, and their voice sounds the same. That's a good point. I'm tentatively going to say no. I hadn't planned out anything for Bustar at that point. Like he wasn't a character I'd really conceived, though they do. That is a good point. They do have a lot of similarities to them, but I would have to listen back to that. I don't remember what lore I revealed for this character, or what lore I revealed for that character narrating that episode. But I'm leaning towards I would think that I probably said something that doesn't line up with what I want to be canonical for Bustar. So I'm going to tentatively say no, but it's entirely possible I listen back to that episode and I go, no, yeah, that totally could have been Bustar Terminax. So that's a very valid question, because they definitely do have similarities. Not quite. Okay. I'm going to emphasize his scars a little bit more with some extra, what's it called? Specular highlights, I think is the term. It's funny, a lot of the art terms I learn are actually from, nowadays, Corridor Crew, who does the VFX Artist Reacts videos, which were the original inspiration for my Illustrator Reacts videos, which are what helped this channel blow up in the first place, even though I don't do them anymore because they're not super fun to make. But obviously I massively appreciate how many people came to the channel from those videos originally. And funny enough, one of them has actually been getting views again randomly in the last few weeks. It seems like YouTube almost has like a bit of a fail-safe. If I have no idea if this is true, but anytime my channel has really started to dip, it seems like some of my old popular videos will start getting pushed out a little bit, almost as if YouTube has it's very likely this isn't true, but it almost seems like there's this is a person who uploads regularly. Their videos aren't doing super well right now, but let's boost up one of their old things so they don't get frustrated and lose too much income. Again, that's probably not a real thing. It's probably just a thing I'm making up, but kind of seems like that. Or the universe is just always looking out for me, which I would be inclined to believe that's the case. But that would be getting a bit more into my own personal spiritual beliefs. Which actually is going to be a theme of in another multiverse production journal, or in another multiverse set of stories. A bunch of them have some spiritual themed elements to them, which I'm very much enjoying writing. Oh, Dempsey J, that was a great idea, making his skin a like whitish gray kind of color. I'm really liking that sort of vibe. This blend brush is different from the one I've been using, but I actually kind of like it. Gives me room to be a little bit more subtle with how I'm blurring the lines at some points. Happy accidents. I love it. I think his eye scar thing is a little bit too clean looking, is it? Oh. No, Did I not add grain to him? No, I added grain, right? Did I? Whatever, I'll figure it out. Hey PopCross, does Bustar live in Tehran's universe? No, I've seen a couple people mention that. I don't remember what it is I said that made people think he does, but he does not live in Tehran's universe. His universe has a definitively different overseer who will meet for the first time, sort of, in the Alien Community Redraw episode coming up. But no, Bustar does not live in the same universe as any Multiverse Tales character, although he does live in the universe that Charlie and the Biomex briefly existed in. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I always have such a hard time figuring out, like, wait, am I spoiling something that I don't want to spoil? But that is something that I hinted at already in Bustar's first episode, or maybe second episode, one of the Minecraft ones. He mentions how there was a multiversal warp drive that malfunctioned, and that was what he was referring to, unbeknownst to him, was the events mentioned in the first Multiverse Tales episode, Biomechela. But that's not Charlie's original dimension, because Charlie was created by Dresden Oakland, or the Biomex were created by Dresden Oakland, but Charlie and his Biomex ended up in Bustar's dimension. Let's see what else we got here. Are there any topics that you've wanted to work with on the channel but haven't been able to come up with a good concept or idea with? The first thing to come to mind isn't one that I've specifically been really revved up to work with, but I have had a few times where I've heavily considered some horror episode ideas for Owl House. I had an idea that I liked the story enough, but art-wise, I was like, my drawing ideas aren't really that interesting for this. Visually, I don't think it would be that great, but oh my gosh, Snuggly, Snooze, TF, FNAF, Marvel, Star Wars. Thank you very much. Is that your name, or is that the suggestion? Transformers, FNAF, Marvel, Star Wars? The way it's written, it looks like that's just your name, but it might also be a suggestion? I think that's just your name. I could be wrong, but either way, Marvel, Star Wars. Oh yeah, actually it could be fun to go back to Marvel, Star Wars, because I did that, it could be set in the same universe as my Spider-Man Star Wars episodes from back in the day. Star Wars is actually a topic that I've, a bunch of times been like, it could be fun to go back to this. I do really like a lot of stuff in Star Wars. More so like The Mandalorian and the original movies than some of the movies that have come out lately, but the difficult thing about Star Wars is it's such a massive, expansive universe that I don't know super well. Like with Marvel and DC, going with movies or comics, I know both of those like really well. Like I can riff stuff out pretty quickly. Like I was writing the new horror icons in the Marvel Universe episode today, and like I was like, who are some characters that exist in California in the Marvel Universe? And I was like, the Runaways and the Pride. And I was like, that could work. And so it's like, with Marvel and DC stuff, it just, like, it comes to me super easily. With Star Wars, it's like, that's as massive of a universe with so many characters, but I do not know it super well. So it's much harder for me to dip back into Star Wars stuff without doing a ton of research. And obviously, I'm happy to do research for episodes, but like something like FNAF, when I was getting into that, it has lots of hidden references and stuff like that, but a lot of the time with that, I can go to like one specific MatPat video, watch for 20 or 30 minutes, and learn everything I need to know. Whereas with Star Wars, it's more like there's so many options and little characters that I wouldn't necessarily know that makes it a little bit harder for me to work with Star Wars in a way that would be satisfying for both casual fans and the more hardcore fans. Which I don't necessarily always do that. I mean, like, when I worked with Warhammer, I definitely didn't satisfy a lot of the more hardcore fans. But I also always try to. Like, I try to hide in references that more casual fans would get, but then some that are also like, the more hardcore fans go like, oh wow, he knows about that. That's really cool. that make it more fun for people of all different ranges of fandom for different fandoms. I keep forgetting that I can zoom in and out. What? Let's go. His face is almost a little bit... Oh, I know what's up. Oh, wait, what's this? Paul Apollo. Oh, wait, we got two. Okay, wait, Robert Wilson first. What about drawing your characters or characters as Starfleet officers? That could be cool. I haven't tried Starfleet is Star Trek, right? Yeah. Yeah. I haven't tried a Star Trek video, and I do really like a lot of Star Trek. I haven't watched any of the seasons all the way through. I've watched a bunch of the original and a bunch of the Next Generation, and admittedly I like the Next Generation stuff more. And then I also did admittedly really like the three more recent movies. I know they were a little bit more action-packed than Star Trek usually leans, but I really enjoyed them as someone who's a bit more of a casual fan. And thank you for the donation. And also thank you to Paul Apollo again, who I'm still a big fan of Godzilla JoJo stand designs. Here's my suggestion. Marvel and DC characters as JoJo stands. I am open to that. I've admitted this before. I'm not actually a big fan of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Like, I watched a bunch of one of the seasons, and I read a bunch of the a bunch of the volumes to do the episodes around it, but it was never really... Like, I think it's a super impressive series, and I understand the reason a lot of people like it, but it's just not really my kind of thing. And on top of that, the videos I've done never did super well around it. They did kind of pick up a little bit more long-term. Like, Godzilla JoJo was one that did terribly right off the start, but then eventually got, a decent-ish number of views. But mainly the reason I haven't really gone back to it is it's just not really one that I really like researching as much. But I do think the stand designs are really fun to do because they're so different from any other human characters that I design. And Marvel and DC would probably actually be a way to bring in more viewers to it, because Marvel and DC are two of the most popular topics that I work with. Why does this brush keep... I feel like I'm going a little bit nuts. Was there another... Okay. Can you make more Mandalorian videos? I'm definitely open to doing more of it. Admittedly, I didn't even end up watching the newest season. Like, I really liked the first two seasons, but there's so many shows out there that admittedly I've been watching more anime lately, ever since I got a Crunchyroll account. Also, a friend that I met recently suggested this old show called Smash, which is a musical show, and I'm a massive musicals fan, and it is so good. Oh my gosh. So good if you're a fan of musicals. The music in it is phenomenal, and like half of my playlist currently is just songs from Smash. It only ran for 2 seasons, and I haven't finished the second season yet, and I'm quite certain it ends on a cliffhanger because the show got canceled. But it's got one of my favorite actors in it, Jeremy Jordan, who's an incredible singer, and he's super cool. He's in one of my favorite movies, The Last 5 Years, which is also a musical that he did with Anna Kendrick. Yeah. That's how I end things if I don't have an idea of how I'm ending a sentence. I just go, yeah. Because I don't actually... Oh, right, sorry, I trailed off. I was gonna... One thing I sometimes forget to do for characters that have a bit of stubbly kind of beard is add a bit of an alternate skin tone, like dark skin tone along with the stubbly, just to emphasize it a little bit more. I think the first time I did that was with Tayrin, because he's got like a bit of stubble, but that's not bad. But I think I need to make his mustache bit a bit scratchier. Can't be too clean. This guy's a rogue. He's a renegade, rebel, not clean cut. It's definitely given him more of a Lobo kind of look, but I'm okay with that. I'm very happy for him to be openly inspired by Lobo from DC. Might dull the color of his scars a little bit eventually, but we'll see. I was planning for this to be a 2-hour stream, so that would take us to 5:30. We'll see what happens. I don't want to go super late tonight, because again, I'm working tomorrow. I think the last time I did a live stream, I had a full day off after. His face is almost looking a little bit too smooth. I think I need to add a bit more grain to it. I don't know where my grain layer is. Did I just do it right onto his skin? Maybe. Is this brush working? What's happening? Okay, it's working. Maybe I just lowered the opacity too much. I feel like I usually have it down at 4. Okay, yeah, that's... There we go. Bit grainier. It's subtle, but it's there. I think I need to reference the cyberpunk... There was a male character that... There he is. Okay. The collar is not as bright as I thought, but still. Oh, wait. Did I miss a... I might have missed a... the name that I had a hard time with. I'm sorry. Crimson Raider. Crimson Raider? That might be it. Have you tried doing any video ideas using Dragon Ball but didn't work out? Trying to think of the last time I tried a Dragon Ball video. Like I said earlier, Dragon Ball videos for some reason, or Dragon Ball Z on the cover of a video is one that I would always think would do super well, but then it just never has. But I do really like doing Dragon Ball Z designs. I don't know if I've ever thought of an idea and didn't end up going with it. I've worked it into, I think in my last famous anime video, I worked in Vegeta with a Captain Marvel inspired storyline that I really liked. But no, I do still like the Powerpuff Girls idea from earlier. How long does it take to write lore for a video? That can vary dramatically in terms of how much research I need to do for it. Whether or not it's lore or a story, for which they tend to be a little bit of an arbitrary differentiation, but lore tends to be a little bit more like, this creature has these abilities and lives here and so on, less of a, like, not having necessarily any kind of character arc or progression to it, whereas story is like, this is the character, this is a series of events that happen to them, maybe they have an arc worked in depending on the episode. With something like a Marvel or DC episode, it'll usually take significantly less time, because as I said, those are universes that I know the lore way better. But with something like Star Wars, like I mentioned, it would take significantly longer. Today I was writing some more in-depth Marvel stories for the horror characters in the Marvel universe, and so I didn't have to do as much research for them, but they were also longer, more involved stories, so those took about 3 hours to do the 3 stories that I wrote, and then I started another one that I just haven't finished yet, the 4th one for that. But then something like a dragon episode, often I can write the lore for one dragon in like 10 minutes, as if it's like something like Ben 10 where I know the topic really well, so it can vary pretty dramatically. Oh, Dragon Viper Exo, thank you very much. What is Bustar's second favorite species to capture, and what's that weapon staff he's holding? So the staff he's holding is the Pyrogalv, which I mentioned in the Dinosaurs as Aliens episode from 2 days ago, which on one end has like a taser stun stick, and on one end has a flamethrower. And in terms of his second favorite aliens to hunt, haven't decided that yet. I am thinking his next episode might be a non-xenomorph specific one, but I'm not entirely decided on that yet. Yeah, I do like the idea of branching out with him into more... I actually kind of like the idea of doing a Venomized episode revolving around Bustar Terminax, because Clintar, the alien species, the actual name of the venom alien species is Clintar, and so they could entirely likely exist in this universe as well. And who's, I think Venomized Toothless is the subscriber who's been suggesting Venomized Star Wars aliens, and that could be, for one thing, a pretty fun episode to make, and two, would fit into this universe because we just have Venomized, like Star Wars aliens. I've already referenced, I think, a Rancor in one of his episodes, so like Star Wars planets exist in this universe, and then we just throw a Venom symbiote on them, and you can go track them down, and not necessarily bring them back to Ishkonigan Major to have them on the nature reserve planet with symbiotes. He might just try and get rid of, get them off the aliens or something. Will you do another redrawing old art video? I love seeing your progress over the years. Thank you very much, Paul Apollo. And I want you to see you redraw more art. Yes, I'm thinking, so September, sometime in early September is the 5-year anniversary of PopCross Studios, and so I'm thinking I will do another episode of that redrawing stuff and talking about being a YouTuber for 5 years. I mean, I'll have been a full-time YouTuber for 4 years, but 5 years seems like a good time to do a little bit of a look back, you know, turn maybe my Elsa kaiju into a proper big, cool kaiju with a full background drawn in, and I don't know what other characters. That's the main one that stands out to me as one that deserves a redraw. But yes, I am definitely planning to do another one of those, likely in early-ish September. But we'll see. I haven't decided 100% for sure. But I do love that episode from last year, the redrawing some of my old stuff. It's all 4 of those drawings were easily some of my favorite drawings from last year. I don't remember if all 4 of them got into the top 22 of 2022, but they should have. If they didn't, I'll get in there. But I also, my top 22 of 2022, I also was like wanting to have characters from different episodes and stuff like that, so, you know, it wasn't necessarily exactly my top 22 of 2022. Wanted to have like a bunch of different art style character, a bunch of different types of characters represented and stuff. I'm going to say it now. I'm not going to end up finishing this drawing on this live stream. I'm moving way too slow for that. But I will finish the drawing and probably post it in a community tab, or you'll get to see it at the start of the next Bustar Terminax episode. Tempted to add a little bit of color variety on his arms, but maybe that'll be too much. I don't want to over-design him. He already feels a little bit over-designed, but also in a kind of cool way, like, you know, he's a raggedy kind of character who can have, I don't know, raggedy, scattered kind of clothing to him. He looks a bit busy is what I'm saying, but I'm also kind of fine with it. Oh, I haven't been paying attention to my posture. Gotta be a good example for people. Look at that bulging bicep vein. Do you have any plans for the characters that you selected in the last community redraw? Yes, they're I mentioned earlier, the next Trismegistus Academy storyline will more heavily revolve around our current existing characters. Jake, Anna, mostly Anna will be the main character of that episode, but we will get a bit more of an introduction to the new characters, learn some more stuff about them, and yeah. So many of my brushes are doing different things than they usually do. But change can sometimes inspire some interesting growth or realizations, so maybe this ends up being a good thing. It is always nice to have a face with a voice. Yes, it is. I think that a tattoo on Bustar somewhere would be cool. Yeah, that's true. Would be fitting for him, especially if it was Xenomorph related. Yeah. I did actually think about that before, having a tattoo on this arm. Maybe that's something I add eventually. Actually, I guess that's, as long as I make sure to keep the file, which I would. That's even something I could give him a tattoo later on, and just add it to his his design at a later point, because it's a fairly easy thing to throw on after the fact. I do really like this guy's quite different looking from our other characters in Multiverse Tales. He's got a unique aesthetic. I mean, it's very, I would say any cyberpunk fan will pretty clearly be able to see the inspiration on his design, and even someone who knows Lobo fairly well. But I think the blend of all the other stuff makes him unique enough in his own right, too. That's not what I want selected. Color. There's basically none of that. A little bit of shading on the back of that. I'm at least gonna get his upper torso finished, so that we have his finished image that would show up in one of his episodes. Oh, I smell. I had a shower before this, but I guess because I got sweaty when the air conditioner was off. And I didn't put on deodorant because I wasn't leaving the apartment again today. That gold X on him, I guess, is the only part of him that I left gold. Oh, I guess these dots, too. I guess that kind of works. Just another element that helps draw us towards the main focal point of the character, that being his head. I'll probably end up keeping it. Am I planning to do any more Pokemon as SCPs videos anytime soon? Because I would like to see Galarian versions of the 3 legendary birds. I do really like Galarian Zapdos. I guess I haven't done any of the legendary birds in Pokemon as SCPs, have I? I am definitely interested in returning to that series. I was really hoping that Digimon SCPs would take off, because I think that could have been a super fun series, but those two have done terribly. So I don't know if I'll be returning to that one. I actually might do just for fun, and so that there's no pressure on it to do well, might just do a live stream of Greymon or Skull Greymon or someone as an SCP, because I do really want to do those. but at this point it looks like doing another full video of Digimon SCPs is a no-go. But yeah, Pokemon as SCPs is something that I'm definitely open to returning to. I love that series, and it's brought so many new people to the channel, and the third episode is now my most watched video of all time. It's my first video to cross 2 million views, which is very, very cool and exciting, even though I think some of those are the fake views, and that whole fake view debacle that was happening a few months back and has happened kind of again recently. That I won't get into all the details of that. It's not really worth talking about, but it was a weird situation that YouTube wasn't able to help me figure out what exactly was going on. But yeah, Pokemon as SCPs is a staple of the channel, to be sure. This is interesting. This might not work out the way I thought it was going to. Might redo this shading and lighting. Let's see. I don't want it to be too dulled out because I want this to be like a glowy element. Oh, maybe I'll add a bit of a soft glow on top of it, of this color. Let's see how that... It's not quite doing what I want. What if I even just go full blown, like... Why is that? Not quite that. What if we add a bit of... Wasn't planning on this being such a hard edge, but... I guess that kind of works. Similar-ish rendering to what I'd do with ice, I guess, which was not what I was thinking originally. Let's see how it works when we've got other elements of his chest and torso kind of finished off. Whoa. Oh, those erase really quick. Need a very low flow. Jeez, even that. I'm practically gone now. It's still subtly there, I guess. Minecraft Legends and Dungeons bosses as fantasy beasts. Oh yeah, Minecraft Legends came out. I heard a lot of hype about it when it was first announced, but then I kind of just missed the fact that it came out. I haven't really even looked at what new characters or creatures exist in it, but I am open to that. I do love working with Minecraft stuff. That's one that the lore is usually very easy to write because there's not maybe Minecraft Dungeons, or oh, sorry. Did you say Minecraft Dungeons? I was thinking, maybe I misread or maybe I misinterpreted. I might have been thinking Minecraft Legends? Unless I'm just brain fried at the moment and that's what you said and that's what I read out. My bad. Is this casting? Yeah, that's casting shadow already. Please do FNAF characters as SCPs. I think they're already too close to being SCPs. Like with something like Pokemon, a lot of them do seem like they could already be SCPs, but they also have really cute, simple designs that are easy to flesh out into something else. With FNAF characters, I don't think I'd be changing them at all. Like they're already basically SCPs and they're already creepy looking. With Pokemon it worked because the lore was easy to write because they had a lot of SCP-like elements in their existing lore, but they looked cute enough that I could transform them into creepier SCP, more realistic versions. I don't think I could really pull that off with FNAF. I've seen a few people suggest something like Minecraft SCPs and My Singing Monsters SCPs, and I like both of those ideas, but I feel like the designs wouldn't really be any different from my Fantasy Beast episodes for both, or my Fantasy Beast episodes for those things. I mean, my singing monsters maybe, because I could lean into some of the elements that I would normally strip away from the Fantasy Beast versions of the characters, but I don't know, both of those I'm a little bit more hesitant to try out just because I already have series turning them into creepier monster versions. Something's not working for me here. Just for fun, you can try Bustar with other colors like gray, I don't know, purple, green, or whatever. I won't do that for now, but you are right that it is nice, the style I work in, that you can kind of change things up fairly easily even after you've started into the rendering process. But I'm also already moving slower than... I'm gonna keep that in mind for next time. However slow I think I'm gonna move, it's probably like half that speed. Keep that in mind the next time I play in a live stream. Maybe next time I'll even do the flatting ahead of time. Or I'll just plan to like just do the inks or just color the head, or I don't know. That would definitely make it where I'm more inclined to live stream more often if I don't have to commit to doing, or if I don't make myself commit to doing like all the coloring or all the inks or all the something. Because I mean, obviously it's nice having a finished piece at the end of a stream, but also the main reason for doing this is getting to chat with people and people getting to see my work process at a slower pace. Stuff like that. It's a bit weird. I almost made it look like his jacket has some cracks in it. But I guess actually I've seen leather jackets with some creaking, cracking sorts of bits to them, so actually maybe kind of works. Man, he is a pretty cool looking dude. I'm liking this guy. Hope I haven't missed any donation things. I think usually they tend to pop up pretty clearly in my vision as I'm going. Hey, the video has 444 likes. I like that number. It's an angel number right there. But also if more people want to like it, that's cool too. I don't actually know. I think a bunch of my old live stream videos ended up getting to like some of them over 100,000 views, but I think YouTube has since changed the way it pushes out live stream stuff after the fact, so that wouldn't necessarily happen, because live streams used to be in the same category as regular videos, like how shorts used to show up on your regular video homepage, timeline, whatever kind of thing, and then they changed it so live streams and shorts show up in their own separate category, and odds are most people aren't going over to the live stream tab after a live stream is finished, unless they're specifically prompted to go find it. So like a live stream that's done probably isn't going to show up in your on your homepage when someone comes to see what's new with their favorite channels on YouTube. I don't know that they'd necessarily be prompted to go check out a live stream, even if it's from one of their favorite YouTubers, after the stream is done. This part I decided doesn't necessarily make sense that it would have the indent towards his chest in as if this is his actual muscle, but I was going with the Joe Madureira inspired kind of armor where he's got some characters that's just like the musculature of their armor is a little bit throwing logic out the window in a way that totally works for his style, because it's so cool where it's really like conforming to their body and and not as rigid looking. I'm probably not explaining that very well, but anyone that doesn't know Joe Madureira, his art is super cool. I really love it. He did a few comics for Marvel. He did the third Ultimates run, which had some weird stuff story-wise, but visually was just incredibly cool, and I would love to have more comics by him, but as someone who has had lots of people say, hey, you should make comics, and I'm not particularly interested in doing that, I can respect why he wouldn't want to stick with Marvel and keep doing more comics. And for anyone that hasn't heard me talk about it before, because I probably haven't talked about it that much, comics are just too time-consuming for me. Like, I don't really like drawing all the characters in their just, like, conversation poses. And I don't really love drawing characters over and over again. Like, unless the character's getting a new design, I don't really like drawing them more than once. Or unless it's, like, a really old drawing of mine that I'm taking another crack at to see how much better I could do it. Like in the episode I mentioned earlier that I'm gonna do later in probably September at some point, redrawing my old art from the channel again. Did I? Yeah. All right. I have this bit of textured lighting in here. Oh, it's not selected yet. There we go. I can tell I'm starting to run out of things to say. Just Bustar meets you. Oh, part of this is blocked. Just Bustar meets you from Benny's World. Meets me from Benny's World? Or meets Benny? I mean, he could be me from Benny's World. I have actually, I think I've talked about it before, maybe on a live stream or maybe in a video. I did actually, in Battle for the Beast World, have a version of me started in the writing process that was kind of a parody of me, that was the overseer of Kayla's dimension, and he was kind of like this schlubby version of me that is just not putting any effort into being an overseer, but is just kind of watching what Kayla's doing, because once she got a biomech, she became the most interesting thing in that dimension, and it was going to be kind of a throwaway, jokey scene, but then I realized it was just taking way too much time away from the actual important elements of the plot, so I cut it out. So, I don't know, at some point I might write a version of me into the story, but it would probably be a very goofy parody version, not like a really serious version. Or not me, like, trying to make myself seem really cool in that universe or something. I mean, the self-insert elements of myself. I mean, there's self-insert elements of me in most of the characters. Like, there's pieces of me in all of them. But the character that has the most of me in him is definitely Sterling. Sterling is, the way I'm writing him is he's kind of a character I aspire to be like. So it's not me being like, this is how I act in real life. It's more like, this is how I want to act and how I try my best to act. But he is going to have some stuff that might knock him down a peg at some point in the near future. Well, not exactly. You'll see. I'm going to get into spoilers if I say too much in that ballpark. But I have a story that I've had planned for a while that's going to mess with Sterling a little bit, but in a way that will have a very no. You know what? I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna end up spoiling things. I guess that's part of the problem with live streaming, is I'm searching for things to talk about while I'm drawing, so it becomes very easy to get into spoiler territory with Multiverse Tales stuff. I'm really in the drawing zone where I'm mentally hardly even paying attention to what I'm doing. Like, my mind is kind of just on autopilot with the the actual rendering process, because I've done it so much that I don't really have to think about it that much. So there are some parts of the drawing process where I'll be more focused and paying attention, like in the actual designing of the character and coming up with their proportions, again, which is why I did that before starting the live stream. But then some elements like inking and coloring after the flatting process, when I've decided all the colors, those I can usually just not tune out, but I'll like have a podcast going and be a little bit more focused on that than I would be in another stage of the drawing process. Although I am thinking I might be making his suit a little bit too clean looking at the moment. Oh, right, I was going to add some like dings and scratches and stuff, and I didn't do that. That is something that definitely upped my mech armor designs at a certain point. I think in FNAF Mech Armors episode 2 I started doing that. Just like, you want to add like little, as if the paint has been scratched off on the edges, like the parts that would be most likely to rub up against something where the paint would start coming off. I think that's a nice, cool little element that can just help something feel a little bit more weathered and textured. And again, that's actually something I learned watching Corridor Crew. They had a costume and prop designer named Nat, who I think is still there. I haven't seen him in a video in a while, but yeah, showed Nat giving some scratch marks to the edges of armor and stuff like that. So that's why it's really nice seeing how you can watch and listen to other artists' work even in totally different mediums and still learn things that can be useful for you in your art process. I think that's one of the very fun things about being an artist. For your redraw, can the alien be an alien version of one of your narrators? If it's different... I guess technically there could be an alternate version alien of one of... Yeah, I'd say so. I might be a little bit pickier about that, so it might be a little bit harder to get picked if someone were to do that. But if someone had a really good idea for how to write their lore for that character, I would be open to that. Alright, I'm going to finish his shoulder, then I'm going to do a zoom in. Man, I love... it's such a simple little thing, but those little scratch marks on the armor, I think, just really help. Excuse me. I'm definitely going to add more of those. But again, I don't think we're going to get super far past his torso today. We're at 5:30, which I was planning to do a 2-hour live stream. I will go a bit longer, but this isn't going to be the For Alligator live stream where I keep saying, oh, I don't know, are we going to go? And then I just go through the whole thing. I'm definitely not going to finish all of Bustar today. But I've got, again, the part of him that will show up when it says episode narrated or narrator Bustar Terminax. And I don't know if I'll draw his ship at any point. I mean, maybe I should. I picture it looking a little bit like a junker kind of ship. Like, it's not maybe a junker ship that he's added some like cooler elements to, or like some decals, or like he hasn't necessarily cleaned it up, but he's made it look a little bit more in line with his aesthetic. Like, it doesn't just look like junk, but it also looks like could be used to carry junk. That's the sort of vibe I'm thinking. But then, of course, his AI tech on the inside is probably doesn't look like it would suit the rest of the ship. Like, it's very upgraded and clean looking, that the Ishkonians added for him when they installed ship. Which I think it's funny now that was an element that doesn't exist in Bustar Terminax's first episode. Like, ship just isn't a part of that first episode, but then we pretty quickly got... I quickly realized that I really liked Bustar, but I needed something to contrast his sort of cynical attitude and give us something that helped push him closer towards being more happy and confident with who he is, despite the fact that he's disappointed a bunch of people that he used to spend time around. Oh, Alloy Gaming, thank you very much. That looks awesome. Keep up the good work. Thank you. I will for a little bit longer. Maybe I'll go till 6. We'll see. I keep forgetting that I can zoom in and out more. Yeah, this is looking cool. He does still look a bit smoother in the face than I was intending. Maybe I just need to chop up his eye tattoo thing a little bit more. There's something to make him a little bit less clean cut. But maybe we'll see when more of the drawing is done how that all comes together. Want people to still be able to see his head, even though I need to move down his body a little bit more. Oh, I don't know what I'm looking at. Are you familiar with the Disney Mirrorverse? Yes, I've had a few people suggesting that. Seems like a concept you could give us super cool and intimidating designs and cute cartoony characters. Yeah, I really like a bunch of the designs in it. There was someone on the Patreon messaged me about working with it because the 1-year anniversary happened recently, and that was part of what inspired my Disney Villains in Mortal Kombat episode, even though I didn't actually reference the Mirrorverse stuff at all. But you are right, that's definitely up my alley, and I haven't played it at all, but there's definitely a bunch of really cool alternate versions of Disney characters in there that look kind of like well, maybe that's being a bit arrogant, but look like they're in the same sort of aesthetic that I would redesign Disney characters in. Not necessarily that I would do as good of a job as the artist that Disney hires to design their characters. But maybe I'm not being confident enough there. I could probably hold my own against some of them. But that's the other nice thing about being self-employed is I don't have to compete for jobs with other artists that have significantly more experience with character design. I mean, I guess I also depends what you mean by experience, because I'm doing character design work every day, but I'm also altering other people's characters. But then again, these people would be altering Disney characters, so that is altering existing characters, so I don't know. Basically, I'm trying to not sound arrogant while also being confident in the fact that I am pretty good at this. Clearly pretty good at this, because this guy looks super cool. Very happy with Bustar. Really digging his proportions. I think I'm going to try and lean a little bit more into Joe Madureira style proportions. Like, it's just very... Oh, his art is so cool. I'm really all over the place with my shading. I'm jumping around from the arms to the shoulders to the jumping everywhere. Jumping for joy. I haven't had dinner yet. I also had a giant lunch and then went and did ab day at the gym, which my stomach was not thrilled about. But I thought I waited long enough to go, but I didn't. Wasn't so bad, but just a good reminder that eating a giant meal then working on stomach related muscles is not necessarily a great idea. Is there a possibility to create corrupted mech armors using inspiration from the broken animatronics from FNAF Security Breach Ruin? I haven't seen any of the designs from Ruin, though I have had a bunch of people talking about that. That is an interesting idea. Both the FNAF mech armors and FNAF Dragons episodes, I'm open to returning to both, but I also do kind of like that I actually had concluded storylines for both of them, because I mean there's plenty of stories on this channel that like are open to having more stuff happen in them, and then I just never get to them because either I don't have any ideas for the sequels or the video doesn't do super well and people don't seem super interested. But then again, they would probably also do pretty well. And I'd probably have fun doing them. Though I think between FNAF Mech Armors and FNAF Dragons, I'd be more likely to return to FNAF Dragons. It's been a little while since I did a video where I drew the backgrounds in. I try to have enough of those videos worked in regularly, but also they are more time consuming when I have to draw the background in for the characters, and I really like a lot of my graphic design backgrounds, especially for this series. The Bustar Terminax Xenomorph episodes, I love the background template that I designed for them. Just think it turned out super cool. Although that's not the kind of background Bustar here is going to go in. I've already built out his Multiverse Tales style background. And with a bunch of xenomorphs kind of blurred out in the comic book panel style thing in the background. Because I had the inks done, I was able to kind of frame it out how I needed it to look. This guy is looking pretty cool. Yeah, let's do a bit more on his torso now. Have you considered doing something like other characters into FNAF animatronics? I have thought about that, because I did that sort of once with Five Nights... what did I call it? Friday Night at Freddy's? Is that what I called it? Or Five Nights of Funkin'? Or my Five Nights at Freddy's and Friday Night Funkin' fusion episode was taking characters basically from Friday Night Funkin' and putting them in FNAF. And I think a few people have mentioned like Toy Story characters in as FNAF animatronics, maybe Pokemon as FNAF animatronics, and I did enjoy drawing those, so it's something I'd be open to. But that's also, I'd need to get even more... I guess I know FNAF well enough that, even though I've never played any of the games, I do feel like I have a quite strong grasp on the lore from all the videos I've done around it, but I also haven't tried just explicitly putting something into the FNAF universe. That would be a little bit more of a challenge in its own right, but I think one that I'm definitely up to doing and would probably do fairly well. Probably have to reference some MatPat videos again before I started writing that one, but which is where I've gotten most of my FNAF lore, is just watching game theory. Though I've also read a bunch of stuff in the wikis and things like that. But a lot of it I end up just hearing again in MatPat videos. Have you got any redraw emails at this point? Yeah, I haven't looked at I haven't gone in to see how many there are, but I have seen, I've gotten plenty of notifications popping up on my phone of people's coming in. There's been a bunch that have come in while we've been doing this live stream. My guess is there's probably like 100 in by now. When did that episode come out? Trismegistus Academy was a week ago, I think. So yeah, there's probably like 100 submissions in by now at least. There tends to be the biggest influx within the first day that the redraw's been announced, and in the last like 3 days before the deadline. Oh, Crimson Nova, thank you very much. Ever thought about using Yu-Gi-Oh's 5D Signer Dragon, and Earthbound Immortals as superheroes and villains? I don't know the 5D stuff specifically. I would be, if I did that, it would be a broader, just Yu-Gi-Oh! Superheroes and villains episode, or as Fantasy or Mech Armors. Yeah, all those options would be cool. Actually, Yu-Gi-Oh! Fantasy Armors is jumping out to me a little bit more for some reason. But I can look into those specific characters, but I watched like the first 3 seasons or something of Yu-Gi-Oh! When I was a kid, so that's kind of the area I'm most familiar with. and then beyond that, I don't really know a ton of stuff. Like the legendary, like around the time Yu-Gi-Oh! The movie came out, I saw that in theaters, and that's probably around the time I started falling out of Yu-Gi-Oh! A little bit. Not because I dislike the movie, I love the movie, but I think that's probably around when I stopped watching Yu-Gi-Oh! So the 5D stuff I don't know very much about. Excuse me, my throat is getting a bit scratchy. Not in like a sick way, but in like a just been talking too long kind of way. Oh, I'm jumping around again. I was doing his torso. I don't know when I'll finish this end. Maybe I'll just do another live stream to finish it, or maybe I'll just finish it in my own time, and next time I do a live stream, I'll do something else. To the water, Father Finley walks by the water with a 10-pound around his ankles. Thinking I'll finish up his torso and then leave it for the day. Oh, did that on the wrong layer. That one. That glow layer. The upper glow layer is for the specular highlights and sharper lighting, things like this, like the edge lights. Stuff that helps sell the depth. Or the edges, I guess, more so than the depth. Yeah, I'm definitely running out of things to say. I'll be starting a graphic design class soon, so do you have any tips for me? Graphic design tips. So I worked as a motion graphics animator, but didn't actually take any specific graphic design classes. So most of the stuff that I've learned, I just kind of learned on my own, figured out on my own, and didn't have like a traditional education in graphic design. So I don't know if I have if my advice in the graphic design ballpark would really be would be that great. I mean, I really like the graphic design work that I do, but it's not something I specifically had a proper education in. Not that a lot of my stuff that I did. I mean, I went to school for animation for a year. I was in school for film production, and then didn't transfer into a different program, but did the equivalent of the minor in animation. So I had some schooling education in animation, but most of the stuff I learned on my own. Most of the stuff that I used in my professional career is not stuff that I learned at school. I don't want to diminish the value of going to school for art, animation, drawing, any of that, because there is definitely a lot of value in it, but it's also a matter of what style of learning works best for you, because there's definitely people who could learn online better than they could in school, as long as you're disciplined enough to keep yourself on your studies and learning even the things that are a little bit on the boring side that you don't necessarily want to take the time to learn, but you know are useful to you. Yeah. I don't remember how that tangent started, but hopefully it was useful or interesting to someone. Let's put some more scritchy scratches on this guy. Guess this would kind of be an edge. Maybe some don't even necessarily have to be on an edge. It's just like, logically, that would be a part that gets scratched the most easily. I don't know if I like this one. Let's zoom out and see it. This one's a little bit too much. I'm just gonna get rid of it, I think. Maybe even just fade it a little bit, which doesn't... No, that doesn't make sense. Tiny bit. Oh, what's this? Alloy Gaming. Stupid question, but Barbie movie or Oppenheimer? I haven't actually seen either yet. I went to see the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie this week instead, and it was phenomenal. It's entirely possible I go to theaters again to see it. Between Barbie and Oppenheimer, I want to see both. I'll probably watch both eventually. I guess I would be more likely, if I was going to go to theaters for one, I'd probably go to Oppenheimer, just because I know I'm going to end up watching both, but Oppenheimer is probably one that's more of a theatrical experience, like it's probably elevated that much more by being seen in the theater, whereas Barbie is probably just as good in theaters as it is out of theaters. Like, it's not as much of a massive cinematic experience as a Christopher Nolan movie. But I'm excited to watch both. They both look really good. And I do think the Barbenheimer, however it was called, was a very fun little trend. It's like goofy and weird combination, which is obviously something I really like. And you know what? I think I'm done with this for today. I'm sorry that I'm not finishing it today, but we've got his upper torso, so we'll be able to have this kind of come up on screen as narrated by Bustar Terminax. The rest of him probably will only take me like half an hour if I'm not live streaming to do it. So I think I'll wrap it up here. And yeah, hope people are okay with that. Again, doing a live stream like this where I only go for like 2.5 hours definitely makes me more inclined to do another one sometime in the near future. Again, I mentioned I really like the idea of doing a like Greymon as an SCP or something like that in a live stream. Stuff that I want to draw that I don't necessarily have a full episode planned around, that I'm just like, what the heck, let's do this as a live stream and see who wants to come on and chat and watch along and whatever. But I'm very happy with this Bustar Terminax so far. It is a little bit busy looking, but in a way that I'm pretty cool with. Like, it does look like someone who's not super fashion forward, doesn't necessarily know exactly what they're doing, but just wants to like look kind of tough and throws on the stuff that they've got. So do you think Bustar gets distracted by laser pens? Laser pen going on the floor. I think he would be disciplined enough to not be distracted by it, but maybe he does, like, one eye's kind of like, oh, I see that, I want to go after it. But, yeah, anyway, yeah, very happy with this. I think he's super cool. Thank you so much for participating, everyone. I'll make an effort to not have my next live stream be as far away. I think the last one I did was 2 months ago, so it's not like a crazy amount of time compared to like waiting 2 years from the last time I'd done one before. But I am definitely open to doing more live stream stuff. I'll try to also let people know farther in advance when I'm gonna do one, because I only gave people like 2 hours of warning today. But yeah, anyway, thank you so much. I love you all, and I will see you in tomorrow's episode, which, again, anyone that wants to ring that notification bell, because YouTube hasn't been pushing out notifications for my videos as much recently. Tomorrow's episode, as usual, I'll be in the comment section, and it is Avatar and Korra characters in Mortal Kombat, and I really like that episode. Bit longer story-wise, it's like a 20-plus minute kind of one. The art turned out super cool. Story is, condensing the Avatar The Last Airbender story that's like 3 seasons of fantastic character development into a 20-minute episode is like hurt a little bit, but also I think with the amount of time I'm covering and the Mortal Kombat elements, I think it all fit together in a really cool way. So I'm very excited for everyone to see that tomorrow. So yeah, thank you so much. Oh, hey, New York Art, I didn't even know you were here, but goodbye. Yeah, bye to everyone else. Thank you so much. And what button do I press to end this thing?